All right. Hello, hello. I'm starting it a minute earlier than I said just now, but yes, welcome, Seth. Good to see you here. You're already here. I decided to try to shoot for as close to 7 as I could. I had to get tires on my car, so it just kind of led me to being a little bit behind. But I'm here now. So hello. Oh, hi, Preston. How's it going? All right. So it's been a minute since I've done this. I know it's been probably a little over a month. I can't remember which time I did it. Can you guys hear everything okay? If anything needs to be louder or softer, just let me know. I have the microphone a little further away, so I'm not sure if that's making anything. Sounds good? The bass sound good too? Yeah, it's fun playing the Journeyman again. It's been good. Well, it's great to hear. Thanks, Seth. Is it getting all the overtones? All right. So, Seth, I know you had a lot of questions about the flight bass, and I'm not sure if I can answer the flight mini bass. I'm not sure if I have all the answers for you or not, but I can pull up their site and see if there's anything on there. I think one thing you asked was like where it was made. I'm trying to remember if it was Indonesia or something else that it said on the back, but there's a little made in sticker. So I'm not sure. I don't think it was China, though. If I'm not mistaken, I don't think it was China. Oh, there's a little picture of the headstock. Nope. It says QC pass. Let's see. Did you find any of that information that you were looking for online? Preston says, just got my Journeyman out again yesterday too and messed around with a bit. Yeah, no, it's good. I haven't played on the flat wound strings in a minute. It's always fun to slide around on these. Okay, so Seth says, how does it compare to a full-size P-bass? Well, you can probably hear some things when you're listening to the demo video I did. When it gets really high up on the frets start sounding metallic on the flight bass. So if you're up high, it has more of this weird like hollow metallic sound. So I'm going to make that a little bit lower so you can see the bass better. And so that's a little strange up there, but down low, it's a pretty good sound, pretty good tone. I don't think they put the pickup in the same spot that you'd have it on a P-bass. So I almost feel like its tone is it's kind of its own thing because of where they place the pickup. I think it's a good tone. I don't know that I would consider it super close to a P-bass tone. The short scale definitely affects that too. Like I feel like it had a good tone, but I don't know that I would really compare it to a P-bass tone as much. You can go back in and listen to it and tell me if you disagree, but I do think it's different. Would I get one? I'm not sure that I would pay full price for one. You know, if someone had a used one, I might get a used one of the Flight. So if you're joining now or you're just watching the playback, I'm talking about the Flight Transparent Blue Mini Bass. I think it looks really cool. I think having 22 frets is really nice for arrangements. A lot of times I'm doing 16 frets, I run out of notes, but I feel like I need to limit myself to this because most of the people watching also have basses, U basses. So they probably only have 16 frets as well. So I like the 22 frets a lot. I'm curious about the Kala one too. I feel like the Kala coming out with the with the one with magnetic pickups. It seems like it's probably a direct response to this bass and maybe some other companies that put out something similar. And the reason I'm saying that is 22 frets isn't usually the standard number. And the Kala one also, looking at pictures of it, also has 22 frets. So I'm kind of excited to see that too, because I think Kala's intonation will be better on there, at least from the factory. Like I said, you might be able to fix the intonation issue I was having with the Flight. I just don't know for sure because of how far it is out. If it was just a limitation of Mike not having time to really fix that issue, or if it was more of that fixing the issue at this fret would cause the intonation to be out over here. So I'm not sure which is the reason for that. And if I had one and I was tinkering around with it, then I'd probably like it a lot better if the one I was playing on had like really, really good intonation. That would probably make the big difference for me. But I feel like the Kalas, I mean, they're not perfect, but it's not a quarter step out. It's just a little bit out. But the good with those is they are adjustable, so I think you can do something about it. I just don't know if it'll completely solve it or not. Yeah, and so I do think it's a direct response. I'm hoping that the Kala won't have that issue, and that even from the factory, they will just already have it set up correctly. And that's kind of my hope with that. Preston says, Steven, I just got word that I've been accepted into my first band. Awesome. Congratulations. And they want to start gigging in August. Considering your experience, what tips do you have for gigging? Okay, so if you've never played a gig before, congratulations, first of all. That's awesome, getting into a band. If you've never played a gig before, do you jam with people regularly? Because I think the main thing would be just kind of getting used to the whole relations with the band. So like if you're good friends with the drummer, being able to lock in a lot with the kick drum is awesome. Just remember your place in the band versus how you are separately. If you're the bass player in the band, I know you play piano too, so I'm assuming that you're the bass player in the band. Just remember that you're gluing the chordal information given to you by whatever chordal instruments are there to what the bass drum is doing. So if you're writing music with them and they come up with a cool little guitar riff, then you may want to match the riff, or you have the option to match what the bass drum is doing. If you're playing cover songs, then even if it's not entirely the correct bass part, sometimes you want to meld what you're playing to match what the drummer is giving you. So for instance, if you know the song is supposed to go bum, 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 but the drummer is giving you bum, 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 some other rhythm, and you realize that you could just make a quick, easy adjustment just to match their rhythm with the guitar rhythm, it'll probably make the band sound tighter, even though it's technically the wrong part. And so just little things like that. It's like really listen to the drums and make sure you're locking in. Your job is really just to make what they're doing make sense with what the guitar players are doing. And or keyboard player or whoever else is doing chordal instruments in the band. And that's really, really the biggest thing. So it's really just a lot about listening and knowing how you fit in with the band more than like trying to nail everything note for note. Unless the band is like trying to do a bunch of Rush covers, then both of those things are equally as important. But by learning it note for note, you'll lock in with the other members. So it's still more about locking in, but hopefully that helps a little bit. I'm sure you know generally to do that, and I'm sure you've jammed with people enough to probably know that. But just in case you haven't, that's kind of the main thing. Is just your job is just like whatever they're giving you, make it make sense and be as solid as possible. But congratulations, that's awesome. Okay, what does that say before you said that? Sorry, I skipped over that. Bet it would sound better with flat wounds, get more of a James Jamerson sound. Okay, yeah, the Flight. So the Flight is a little bit longer of a scale. So you just have to make sure that whatever strings you get don't have the wrapping here, because I believe this is what 20 inches and maybe 20 point something, inches. And I want to say that one's 22 point something, almost 23 inches on the flight. So the strings would have to go all the way to a nut being over here, basically. And I'm eyeballing it. It may only be here, but you get the idea. So because of that, the strings would have to be a little bit longer. So you'd either have to unwrap them a little bit more or buy strings that are already a little bit longer. But yeah, flat wounds would be cool on anything with P-bass pickups. I agree. What kind of band is it, Preston, that you're joining? Like, what style of music do they primarily play? So for now, I don't have the loop pedal plugged in. So are there any like things that you think I could make a solo arrangement out of on the spot? That might be kind of a fun challenge or something. I have to know the song pretty well though, and it has to have a simple melody to do that kind of stuff on the spot. And do you guys ever try to make solo arrangements out of songs? Where you have like, you learn the melody on one string and then you try to add at least the root notes of the bass line to it, if not making a full bass line. Oh, you did Seven Nation Army? That's it. That's hard for me to think about, but yeah, that's pretty cool too. So this band is a band I actually joined thanks to my dad. So Preston's talking again. It's all older guys, but they decided they like me better than other players after seeing some videos. Very cool. That is a great way to learn, playing with a whole bunch of older players that are kind of seasoned. I'm guessing they're seasoned. Yeah, that's a great thing to do. When I was 19, I joined a band where everybody else in the band was at least in their 40s, and I think most of them were in their 50s. And I learned a lot from being in that band. So that's really good. Oh, good. Those are great bands to imitate. Steely Dan, the Beatles, Queen, the Cars, Stevie Ray Vaughan, and other stuff. That's awesome. Yeah, the Steely Dan, depending on which songs you're doing, it could be a fun challenge on that stuff. And then the Queen, once again, depending on which Queen you're playing, those have some really fun bass lines too. So that's exciting. That's really exciting. Yeah. So if they're doing classic rock, you do want to like try to learn the bass lines. But what I would say is like, don't get caught up on the fills. So like if you're doing, because you got Steely Dan, you want to get like a functional version of the song from beginning to end before you really worry about adding every little detail of the bass line in there. So that way you can play through the songs with them without being like, oh, I can only play through one song now because I spent the whole week focusing on getting the bass line exact. So even with the wedding band, I kind of just get a general chart of the whole song, basically, whether sometimes I'll make my own chart so that I know what the format is. And then I kind of get the basic groove. You listen to the first couple measures of the verse or something. And then you kind of apply that feel to the rest of the chords and everything. And if there's something very, very specific or very, very bass driven, then of course you want to learn that note for note if it's like a very feature kind of thing. But I would do that first, just where you get like a functional version of the song, and then you go back in and add the cool details at your leisure, so that way if they end up having a gig and you end up playing a gig with them, you're ready to go and you have a functional way to do all the pieces. but you can spend the extra time to kind of go back and make the lines even better and stronger later. And like I said, if the drummer's not giving you the exact line, you might, or the exact kick drum part, you might want to alter it slightly to match what they're doing better anyway. Because the end result is people will dance. If you and the drummer are tight, you'll probably have people dancing on the dance floor. Oh no, I am taking requests. Oh no. So now I have to do Freebird. So if you don't know Andrew from rockclass101.com, sometimes I do videos on there. And actually the reason that I got a U-Bass in the first place was he wanted some U-Bass content on Rock Class 101. So I had dabbled on them before that, but he saw the one with the metal strings and he's like, hey, if you make some videos using this, for me, then you can have it, basically. And so that was kind of how I got into it. And that night that I got it, I decided to arrange Canon. So just kind of like a fun fact, though, he's got an excellent ukulele website, though, going. And, sometimes I'm on the band arrangements and stuff. So it's always fun working with him on that stuff. But Freebird, okay. I guess I asked for it, saying request, huh? That almost worked. I have to think. Let me think about what that lead line is first. There it is. And then I have to make the rest. Something like that. Let's see. What does it go to after that? No, yeah. No. Let's see. If I leave here tomorrow. I got my own little finger picking thing. Let's see, I don't know how I could do the melody at the same time as doing something like that. I don't know. I don't know the vocal melody enough, but there you go. That's far enough. There you go. Yeah, but I do Patreon requests usually, so there you go. So there's a little bit of that. Maybe I can do the other part. If I had the loop pedal plugged in, I'd be able to do the solo thing. I would just make up stuff from there after that. Yeah, anyway, I would just probably do stuff like that and solo over it. I wish I could do it with harmonics. That'd be even cooler. Cool. So yeah, I think that I could probably put together a Freebird arrangement. It would just take some time, more time than I'm trying to spend on it, because I'd have to learn the vocal melody. And basically, what I do when I'm coming up with stuff like that is I already kind of know the melody from listening to it and hearing the song for a bunch of years, and then just kind of applying stuff we learned in college. Basically, anyone that went to music college probably had to do a class called aural skills, AURAL skills. So that's where you listen to things and you try to pick it out by ear. And there's like ways to pick it out. So you have to learn what the intervals sound like. And then once you know what intervals sound like so you know what a fifth sounds like, you know what a fourth sounds like, and all these other things. Then you just need to know like the first note of something to be able to pick the rest of it out by ear. So that's what I would kind of do. So I would have the melody, I'd figure it out, and normally I would take more time figuring it out than that before jumping into trying to play it. And then from there, you just have the bass line and the melody, and then you try to figure out where they line up so that you can do all that stuff. And I've done it so much that I can sometimes piece together little arrangements kind of quickly, but it takes a long time to really like perfect them and be able to play them from start to finish. That's kind of what I'm doing when people request things on Patreon. And it's like you have to make a lot of decisions. Like this part sounds really good in the song. This part I can do without. This song really needs a backbeat to drive the energy forward. Just things like that. So that's kind of what I do. And then sometimes I just try to, of course, write stuff where I make up melodies but have some sort of simple bass line going on underneath it. Right. And then yeah. So let's see. It was one of Seth's favorites. Let's see what he says. One of my favorite Leonard Skyward songs to play is Call Me the Breeze. Call me. Leonard Skinner, Leonard Skyward. I've never heard it put that way. I get what you're saying though. Okay. They call me the breeze. It's almost like One Way Out. I remember that. But it's not quite the same. But I remember it being a root, a fifth, a seventh, and an octave, but mostly root fifth on Call Me the Breeze. And there's a little line somewhere in the middle of it, but yeah, I can't remember all the like details. So once again, for Preston, I could like fake my way through songs like that by just knowing, oh, it's a 12-bar blues form, and then the bass line is basically a country line with a little bit extra in there. So it makes it kind of easy to play along with the song even if you don't know it. Some songs you just have to learn, like you can't just jump in with a lot of Queen songs because those are like real arrangements. So a lot of times with that stuff, you have to spend more time on it. So just knowing which songs are like that and which songs are the easier ones allows you to learn them quicker. So like if the band has a gig coming up and you have to learn a bunch of stuff really quickly, then, there's ways to get around that. But if you have all the time in the world, then yeah, spend the time, learn the bass lines, and have fun. That's the main thing. I hope some of that was helpful, at least. Anyone else have a request? It could be like, like trying to do a genre thing. So once again, I'm trying to do all this stuff without the loop pedal today. So let's see. Preston says, I have a music thing in a week that I'm getting graded for. I should go practice. Oh, wow. Well, thanks for stopping by. I hope the music thing you're doing goes well and you get a high grade. And thanks for stopping by. See you around. Hope the advice helps. I'm getting a lot of string noise over everything else. All right, so what's another song? I guess I never finished trying to do. Trying to add a backbeat. Yeah, I'd have to work on that to try to add a backbeat to it. Trying to do all that at once is a bit much. So what I'd usually do is like figure out a backbeat with the bass line first, then maybe try to figure out the backbeat with the melody, and then combine them. So I might go like. Maybe get the rhythm a little bit more correct. Then I practice just the melody. We'll see. Dun, 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 dun. Yeah, that is kind of hard to do at the same time. Let's see. Oh, this part. Almost. That's hard. Yeah, that part I'd have to work a little bit harder on. So yeah, that's a really cool one. I probably need to learn the melody a little bit better on that part to go do it. I catch you coming back my way, I'm running over to you. That whole thing. That ain't what you wanna hear, but that's what I'll do. Yeah, so it's just a matter of like having the melody down a little bit better, and then notice I had to change the bass part so I'm not stretching my hand from here to there. I found it easier to like play this part in this position. We'll see. Yeah, so that's pretty cool. All right, so we're getting tired of that one. Sorry, but that's kind of what I would do to go through the process to put that together. Anyway, obviously, it would take more work. So, so with these strings, I would do it muted if I was going to do Chameleon. This is Curtis's request, by the way. But with the polyurethane strings, I might do it without muting because they already sound muted. Turn the. I think I need more high end if I'm going to mute though. Just give you an idea of how it sounds differently. How can I do that at the same time? Let's see. How would I do that at the same time, though? Let's see. I can't because it kind of overlaps the bass line, so I'd have to leave out part of the bass line. There's that hole. Clone myself. Yeah, that defeats the purpose. But cloning myself would just be getting the loop pedal out. That would be the way to do that. Right now, for some reason, I'm having trouble locating the adapter. I think it's in the car or something. So I didn't want to like run out there for 2 minutes and then have this just kind of sitting here. But yeah, I don't have the adapter for it. And I don't think there's a 9-volt handy. Unless that one's not dead. Let's see. Is there one in here? Nope. And does this one have any life to it at all? Oh, that's dead. There's another one. Deader than the other one. Okay. Yeah. So I'd have to go to the kitchen to find one. Yeah, 2 U-basses, like Michael Manring style, where he plays like at a time. That's an interesting idea. Maybe, just maybe, I could do the bass line with the Wanderer. Yeah, but it's not plugged in. I don't think it's going to work that well anyway. Dun, dun, dun. I can't even figure out how this line up. That would take me a minute to like think about the rhythm. So Jay Holmes, you say, I have this model in black. Absolutely love it. Put flat wounds on it. These are the flat wounds as well. The round wounds are buzzing too much. Yeah. Yeah, I think the flat wounds are too. And the nice thing about them is you can slide really far with it being pretty easy on your hands too. I want to turn the high end down a little bit. It's getting all that string noise. I feel like I can play faster and kind of cleaner on these without having to worry almost at all about string noise. Makes parts like that easier. Right. So things like that become easier because it's just your fingers don't get caught up on the strings at all, and then there's no excess string noise. There's a little bit, but it's not crazy like the round wounds do have a lot of string noise. But I feel like the round wounds have a better slap sound if you're doing slap bass on them. These have a very like specific slap tone to them. All right. Any other songs you think I could try to make a on-the-spot arrangement out of? And hopefully I won't take too much time doing like I was with some of the other ones. I'll play a original in the meantime. But if you guys have any requests for something kind of simpler, like obviously Dream Theater and stuff like that, I wouldn't be able to even approach on here. I mean, maybe just like little pieces of it, but not like all together trying to do multiple things. I'm gonna do the Going Camping song. Forgot the bridge. So I don't know the lesson well enough to kind of fake that without listening to it, and then it wouldn't be anywhere near like his. It would just be kind of me sort of trying to do that. So maybe a different Victor Wooten song, but not that one in particular. I can do a little bit of things like. Oh, it looks like it's harmonics better. I don't know what the little walk-ups are. But yeah. So I could do that, or I could do like classical thump probably wouldn't sound good on the flat wounds. Yeah, getting those to ring out is kind of tricky. But yeah, I can do that much of that on the U-bass, and anything past that, you need more frets for. So that's an argument for something like the mini bass, the Flight mini bass that I did the review of yesterday. So that's good. Yeah, I was kind of surprised. That's why I kept going with it. I thought I was going to do much less of it, but I'd never tried it on the flat wounds. And I think if I EQ it right, it might actually be easier to play on here because you don't have the ridges of the strings. So there's nothing really for your hands to catch up on. So it's actually surprisingly not too bad. The only part that was harder was getting those notes to ring out. I'm almost strumming through them with my thumb, with the bone still, but kind of going down through the string rather than just bouncing off of it to get the slap to sound on the D and the G string. But other than that, yeah, it was kind of the same. I can't do that fast though. Yeah. Oof. Now my hand's locking up because I'm trying to play it faster. Yep. So for those that aren't familiar with that song, it's Victor Wooten's Classical Thump. And what he usually does is the first part of the song, he's just slapping. And it might be easier to pop on the G string. Just to get those notes to sound better than having to slap through them like that, which is probably really bad for the string. And then after he gets through that section, he does hammer-ons to every single note he just played. So it's like the open string, then with the left hand just putting up enough pressure to get the third fret, then doing the same on the A string. So he's just doing that slap, hammer on, slap, hammer on. And the next time he's going down with the thumb, hammering on, and then coming up with the thumb. It's hard to get enough force on it to get the So what he's doing there is the same technique, just doing that double thump, down and up. It's just he's changing what he's hammering on to. So down, hammer on, come up. And for me, the way I had to kind of memorize this was I know that it's in G major. So pretty much all of the notes in those sections are in G major. So they're all in the key of G. So a lot of times what he's doing, it's almost like he's moving down chord shapes. So here, he's doing an E minor shape. And it's kind of like it's in first inversion. but he's hammering onto each one of the individual notes in there. So it's like that's your 6 chord, then your 5 chord, 4 chord, 3 chord, 2 chord, 1 chord, 7 chord, and then kind of back to the 1, but in root position when it gets down there. So it's kind of an interesting thing just to think about the theory behind it, but he's just running down the scale there. So it's almost like here, it's an arpeggio of a G chord, and, you know, adding them out of order. Root, 5th, octave, 3rd, octave, 3rd, octave, 5th. Then he goes to a C chord and has that little walk down, but it's like C, and then he's walking back down to G major. And then, let's see. He's kind of leading into a D7 chord after that. I've never thought about all this, but it's real basic theory. So just outlining a 1-4-5 progression. 1-4-5-1. And then later what he's doing is he just goes down the scale. And then after introducing that idea of going down the scale, he does all these chords and inversions. All the way down as well. So and actually he goes all the way down to E minor, not to G major. So that's kind of interesting. But anyway, it's not really complex what he did there, right? He just took some very basic theory, he's arpeggiating it, and then he's kind of like running up and down scales and running patterns up and down the scales. So like this whole idea of I'm doing open string, hammer on, come up, but I'm outlining all the notes. I'm not worrying about the open string so much, just outlining the notes of the chord. However, all of those open strings are in the key. So that's why it sounds good, even though it's just not necessarily the notes of the chord, but it's notes that are in the key. And he's adding his signature technique to it, the double thump. And for me to do the double thump, I like to brace my thumb with my finger under there and then just kind of use my thumb kind of like a pick. And I'm not doing anything with the finger other than bracing the thumb to keep it up. The only thing about the double thump is you might end up getting a little bit of a callus on this part, or you might cut the edge of your thumb before you get a callus. And so that's another advantage doing this on the flat wound strings. So that's kind of cool too. All right. So does anybody have any questions about anything, the U-bass or the review that I did the other day on the Flight Mini bass? Are there any unanswered questions? Or just are you seeking advice about how to play a certain song or how to approach something? Are you just enjoying hearing the theory talk about different things? I'd never really thought about classical thump that much before now. Like I recognized, oh, he's just doing a bunch of stuff in G major, but it's kind of cool to just see simply like what he's doing, you know, just chord wise, which chords he's starting on, what he's running up and down. And then he keeps going with arpeggios really throughout a lot of the rest of the piece. So that's kind of cool. So Seth says, speaking of sliding on the flat wound strings, another good song to play would be Walk on the Wild Side. Yeah, how did I do that before? It was like there are two parts, but you can slide one of them down while you slide the other one. So instead of going, you would go like so. That's kind of interesting. Yeah, but you can kind of imitate two parts happening at the same time if you wanted to with that. But yeah, that would be a good one to do. Or you could just do a simplified version. Or you could go up. So yeah, for me, I guess I'm looking at one finger trying to slide the shape over. And I think that if you're sliding a shape up like that, what might help is focusing on what the pinky finger is doing, because I think like my middle finger will get to the right note, but my pinky finger is more likely to skip over the note I'm ending up on. But yeah. So that's kind of what I would play if I was doing Walk on the Wild Side, rather than trying to like imitate both parts. You know, and then trying to do that. I think that's too much. But it's a good song, good idea for sliding. Yep. Does anyone else have any requests or questions that you'd like answered about anything to do with U-bass or short scale basses in general, or just, you know, any theory things about certain songs, or just questions that you have about how to approach anything, really, the bass lines or adjusting to different strings or just anything like that? Just let me know if you have a question. It's kind of cool. How do I do that? That's right, I was doing a C chord up there. Let's see if we have any other questions. What's a good exercise to get speed with the right hand? Okay, so for me, the thing that helped me develop speed with the right hand the most was just like working on Metallica songs, to be honest. But really just practicing alternating. If you're just trying to get speed with that, you could not even focus on the left hand at all for now. Right, and just do that over and over, really, while you're doing anything else throughout your day. Just practice, kind of go back and forth between the fingers. I wouldn't worry about speed at first. Just practice consistency, getting consistent sound out of it. And then, yeah, if you're trying to do that, you really just want to practice it with the metronome. If you're talking about like string skipping and stuff, you could try just doing like what you would do for octaves. So doing the E string and then the D string, and the A string and then the G string. E, D, A, G. And if you don't want them to ring out, you can use a little bit of left hand muting in between. You know, just that kind of thing, but practice. So that's for the string skipping. And you could practice backward string skipping too. But then really, once you've got speed with it, it's just a matter of like practicing it with what you would normally practice with the left hand. So for me, the coordination's a big thing. So I always tell people to start with the one finger per fret idea. Just that kind of stuff. So that's I go over that exercise in that that bass ukulele course that I made. It's a mini bass ukulele course on and there should be a playlist on my channel if you go to that. Whichever one has the warm-up exercise, that's the warm-up exercise that I go over. So the idea is sometimes for speed with that stuff, it's really a coordination issue, right? Because if you're just talking about playing on one string, building up speed, well, then you just start slow and you do the metronome and you build up speed and you just keep going. But that's how you play like an open string really fast, right? But if you're trying to get the coordination while playing fast, we're going like, then I think that exercise is probably the best one to practice. Index, middle on the right hand, but your left hand is going index, middle, ring, pinky. And then you go to the next string and do the same thing. Next string and do the same thing. And then what I do is I go up one fret after I finish that and then start the backwards version. Pinky, ring, middle, index, while still doing index, middle with the right hand, not reversing these two. And then if you wanted to, you could do the whole exercise again, and then for added coordination exercise, start with your middle finger instead of your index. And then reverse it. Whoops, sorry, don't reverse it. I forgot I reversed it. Middle index, middle index, middle index, middle index. Ooh, that feels backwards for me, but I can still do it. Yeah, so that's how I was doing middle index instead of index middle. But that's like an extra thing that you could add on to the end of that. I would probably just do index middle and keep it consistent the whole way through on that. But that's a good way to get a good coordination involved with speed as well. And then if you want stuff to like that sounds more musical while you're practicing, just speeding up your right hand, you can try. If you like metal music, you can try some Metallica stuff. I think someone was saying some Stevie Ray Vaughan bass lines that Tommy Shannon played on. That could help too. He's a really good bass player, and yeah, you could probably get some dexterity from that. But if it's just about the speed, like just playing on one string, if it's like playing metal, then Metallica and other bands like that. For me, the one that helped a lot was trying to do certain parts of Orion, and not the parts where the bass is doing like a bunch of extra stuff. Although there is one part where the bass is up here. I may have to do it in a different spot, though, just because I'll run out of frets. And so that was something I tried to do a lot early on because I just liked the song. And it happened to have the benefit of that I was working on speed near the beginning of my bass journey, you could say. Maybe within the first, 6 months of it. Or play songs like Deantown. I agree, but I think you need to do some speed stuff before you do Deantown and Teentown. I think Deantown or Teentown, right? So what was it? What was it? Forgot how to play it. It's been so long since I played it. But Teentown, the Jocko one, that has a lot of dexterity things, a lot of just you have to do a whole bunch of stuff. I feel like that would be better if you're trying to get that coordination again. But I definitely think a prerequisite to doing that would be that one finger per fret thing. And you can go back in and do all the permutations. So you could go index to on your left hand, index to ring, middle to pinky, but still keep the right hand doing index middle and not breaking. And then the backwards version, pinky, middle, ring, index. And so that's still hard to do. Yeah, but I feel like if you try to jump to Joe Dart, you're going to have a little prerequisite and already have some of this dexterity and speed built up, or it might just be too frustrating. Theoretically, it would help a lot. But yeah, there's some Joe Dart stuff where he's, you're right. Deantown would be good for the verse part, not the crazy part, but the whole. So that would be a good exercise because you're staying on one note, but you're for extended periods of time, but you're also changing strings and trying to do it in time. So yeah, that actually is a good example. Try playing Deantown if you're trying to get a lot of notes in a row, but also having a small shift without a break in the speed going from one string to another. So yeah, Deantown actually is a good example of that. Yeah, or metal music where you're playing a whole bunch of open E's in between a lot of the riffs that you're doing. That helps too. Just but really I'd say the coordination is harder than just developing the speed. All right. So do you guys have any questions about anything else? At this point, I'm probably going to just go ahead and wrap it up because I've got other places to be, some places to play, actually. A lot of times it's fun to go out to jam nights. So me and my girlfriend Ramona are going to head out to a jam. I'm not sure which one, but in the Atlanta area, there are lots of places, restaurants and bars that host jam nights on different nights of the week where you sit in with other musicians and play whatever song the singer wants to do. So if you're the singer, you can call the shots, or if you get the house player, sometimes you can call what song you want to play. Yep, and that's it. Wrap it up. Yeah. So Seth, I know you're local, so the ones I go to a lot of times are, and they're just like rock and classic rock kind of jams and stuff. Are The Place in Marietta, Reed's Deli in Mableton, because that's just generally closer to where I'm at. There's another one on Wednesday nights. There's one at a place called Timbers in Smyrna, Red and Terry's Timbers in Smyrna. And so these are all like metro Atlanta areas. So I know that most people probably won't know those or won't care, but just so you know. So yeah, I'm going to head out and do that. But thank y'all so much for tuning in. And if you find yourself in the Atlanta area, check those out to see what nights of the week. Some of them are on Thursdays and some of them are on Wednesdays. But yeah, let the time get away from me. So it's time for me to go. I'll see you guys later. And thank you for watching as always. Cheers.